What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Backup Fantasy Sports with Euan Leith. I'm Euan Leith, and today we will be talking about some MLB DFS on the DraftKings slate. So it is Wednesday, April 20th, and DraftKings has given us a 7-game slate to break down on their site today in a kind of weird split. I mean, we have 5-day games going on, so DraftKings has its own contest for that. But then the first game is a 6:07 Eastern contest between Oakland and Baltimore. And then DraftKings has decided to skip over the Chicago, Cleveland, Angels, Astros, Yankees, Tigers, and Cardinals, Marlins games, and then jump right back in with Arizona, Washington, Toronto at Boston, San Francisco at the Mets, Tampa Bay at the Cubs, Minnesota at Kansas City, and Texas at Seattle. So kind of a strange split going on here with DraftKings today, but we will navigate it a-okay. I think the Angels, Astros, Yankees, Tigers, and Cardinals, Marlins is on its own little 3-game turbo set. And then there's also the previously mentioned 5 games in the daytime if you want to get in your DFS fix nice and early. So who's on the mound today for each team? In Oakland, we've got Jordan Lyles versing Dalton Jeffries. In the nation's capital, we've got Merrill Kelly trying to best Eric Fedde. Jose Barrios travels to Boston to see Nick Pivetta. Carlos Rodon, in the Giants uniform, takes on Chris Bassett in Citi Field. And Drew Rasmussen at Marcus Stroman for the Tampa Bay Chicago game. Chris Paddock at Daniel Lynch, and Dane Dunning versus Logan Gilbert on the West Coast nightcap. So what I plan to do today is kind of highlight some of my favorite pitchers, then scroll through the DraftKings site for some value bats at a couple of positions, and then try to line up some stacks. So keep it short and sweet here, 7-game slate. And right off the top rope with the pitching, who can you go with except Carlos Rodon right now at the New York Mets? On DraftKings tonight, he's 10,200, most expensive pitcher among the 7 games. He has come out guns blazing in 2022. Everyone that bought into the narrative that, all right, Giants gave him that 2-year contract. They must feel good about his health. That's good enough for me. They drafted him in season-long baseball. And if you've played him so far in DFS this year through his 2 starts, you have probably come out with a profit. Over 12 innings, he's got 21 strikeouts, a 46.7% strikeout rate, and he's averaging 31.5 DraftKings fantasy points per game. Only note to both of those games was it was against Cleveland and Miami, so not exactly the hardest hitting offenses in baseball, even though Cleveland have looked good through the first almost 2 weeks of the season. And I would slightly caution that New York has a 331 weighted on base average against lefties with a 116 weighted runs created plus measurement. So that means they're 16% better than league average against left-handed pitching as a team right now. And they also have a very low 19.8% strikeout rate versus lefties. So while Rodon has the strikeouts, he's most expensive pitcher on the slate. I would understand if some people want to fade him. I just think he's going to be really popular. People are going to see that 31.5 points per game number, and they're just going to be drawn towards him. He's going to have his own tractor beam drawing in all the regular DFS managers. So if you're playing in a cash game, you may still want to have him just to avoid being buried in case he does just continue what he's been doing and kind of get the better of the Mets in Citi Field. Next pitcher on the board is Logan Gilbert versus Rangers, Texas Rangers. And he is the second most expensive pitcher in the slate. I promise I'm not just going to pick all of the most expensive guys on the 7-game schedule here. But I just wanted to mention him, 9,800 on DraftKings. He's gone 5 innings in each of his first 2 starts. He got 7 Ks versus Twins, who are striking out a boatload against right and left-handed pitching right now. And he still managed to rack up 5 strikeouts versus the White Sox in his other start. He's got a 0.90 ERA right now, which obviously is not going to be sustainable. But according to Baseball Savant, he does have a 1.89 expected ERA. So 0.9 ERA, not going to last. But the expected stats do back him up there, saying that he has pitched a lot better. He's only walked 1 batter through 10 innings, so that's a positive. With the 12 Ks, that's exactly what you want to see. And the matchup against Texas today is chef's kiss good. Rangers are coming in here with a 0.072 ISO, which is slugging percentage minus batting average. 0.072. Most teams, good teams, are coming in with 0.201, like the Giants have against right-handed pitching. 0.204, like the Blue Jays have against right-handed pitching. 0.264, like the same team Texas has against left-handed pitching. So 0.072 ISO is ideal for a pitcher to attack a hitting lineup. So we will take that all day and run. So, and they have a 268 weighted on base average, a WOBA. And yeah, I mean, it's only $400 in savings to go from Rodon to Gilbert. So I don't like if it was 1,000, if it was 1,400, I would consider Gilbert, but I think for the extra 400, you can just get up to Rodon, especially in cash games. Tournament play obviously could be a nice pivot away from Rodon if you're kind of trying to get away from a massive ownership kind of thing. So it would be up to you there, and especially with Gilbert having the better matchup in the Texas Rangers compared to the New York Mets. Third pitcher I'll highlight here is Eric Fedde versus Arizona, $8,300, so a lot more affordable than the first 2 guys. He's 1-0 in his first 2 starts, which matters on DraftKings. They get points for wins. On FanDuel, it's wins and quality starts, but on DraftKings, we can just ignore quality starts and kind of just chase some strikeouts and run prevention kind of stuff. He's got 11 strikeouts through his first 10 innings of the year with a 3.6 ERA, 1.3 whip, which is not ideal, but he is averaging 16.4 DraftKings fantasy points per game. And the matchup with Arizona is ideal. They've got a 160, 302, 310 slash line versus righties this year, and they are 23% worse than league average as a team against right-handed pitching. So the savings you get here with Fedde are attractive to make him either a very, very contrarian SP1 or an expensive SP2 on DraftKings. Because on DraftKings, you roster 2 pitchers, a catcher, first, second, third, short, and 3 outfielders. So you really need to find that matching SP2 arm to accompany one of the bigger guys like Rodon or Gilbert here. And then just a couple other pitchers to watch is Merrill Kelly versus Washington, who Eric Fedde is facing. His changeup has produced ridiculous results so far this year, 43.5% whiff rate. So we're just going to see if that keeps up. Washington, middling to not that scary of an offense at all. They have a .112 ISO themselves versus right-handed pitching, so nothing too scary going on there. Uh, they got Juan Soto, and yeah, you can pitch around him. He's gonna have an insane OBP this year because that Nationals lineup is not really scaring anyone all that much. And then also, final pitcher is Chris Bassett versus San Francisco. They're pretty good versus right-handed pitching. I would say they're very good actually because they have a 129 WRC plus with a 356 WOBA. But Bassett has produced pretty good results so far this year, averaging 27.8 fantasy points per game, and he has 8 and 6 strikeouts in back-to-back starts to kick off his Mets career. But I would be a little bit afraid of him just, going against Rodon. Is he going to get the win? That's kind of a big thing on DraftKings. Doesn't have the strikeout upside of Rodon. So if you're trying to go super contrarian and you think the Mets are just going to beat up Rodon and you think Bassett, if you weave yourself that kind of storyline, that is A-okay for me to go with Bassett. But I don't think I can do it myself. I mean, the price tag here at 9,600. I know he's been good, but I mean, with Rodon at 10.2, Gilbert at 9.8, Bassett 9.6, like it doesn't cost that much more to get up to Rodon, and he's just been far and away the best pitcher among these 14 guys taking the ball tonight. That I'm just going to take him for the extra $600 over those other two guys, and I'll find value bats somewhere else. Others worth kind of mentioning, I guess, are Jose Barrios. He bounced back against the Yankees after a terrible start in the first game of the season, but Boston just kind of scary in Fenway. So that's going to be the problem with these AL East pitchers. It's like, oh, I kind of like you. I like your skills, but if you're playing in the division right now, I don't know if I want to visit any of those parks except maybe Tampa Bay. So yeah, he's worth a look at 7.3. He could be a good pairing if you don't want to go like double barreled with starting pitching. You can go Rodon with Barrios and save some money there. Dane Dunning has always kind of intrigued me. 7 strikeouts last time out against the Angels. 2 walks in each of his first 2 starts, but I think he can rack up the strikeouts if he wants to. It's just kind of tough, and Seattle's only striking out 20.6% of the time to righties so far this year. So high upside. I mean, 6,600. If you just want to chase strikeouts with his potential, maybe not the matchup, you can do a lot worse than Dane Dunning. And then anchored at the bottom here is Chris Paddock. How the mighty rookie hypes have fallen. I don't think I would touch him. 3 Ks in his first start against the Dodgers. Maybe they can get something together in Minnesota for him, but I still think that's way too early to take that kind of risk. And the same thing with Daniel Lynch, who had 7 strikeouts in 5 innings against the Cardinals, but oh my, he gave up 3 home runs. I am pretty sure I mentioned him or the Cardinals in my stacks section of my pitcher list article that goes out every week on Tuesdays for DFS. So yeah, pitching done. Time to move on to some bats, some value bats. Now, admittedly, time was a little bit short this morning, so I ran out of prep time, but so we're going to be doing some of this on the fly, see how it goes. Value bats at catcher. Dalton Varsho, 3,500. Hit his second home run of the season yesterday. It's been a little bit of a slow start, but we will see. Don't mind $3,500 for him. Alejandro Kirk, 3,300 in Boston. I still believe good things are coming for this guy. He had 2 hits last night. I'm going to keep playing him. especially at 3,300, and just see how this goes. And then Gary Sanchez, 2,800. Yep, it's not been all that pretty so far for the former Yankees catcher, but two doubles last night, two hits. Lynch just gave up 3 home runs to the Cardinals, who are very good against left-handed pitching, and they can hit the ball at the park. And if Gary Sanchez can connect on one, this could go a very long way, and he could be an excellent value at 2,800. Moving on to first base here. We've got, I think I struggled to find some values here. I just love G-Man Choi anytime there's a right-handed pitcher on the mound going against the Rays. He bats in the third or fourth spot of the Rays lineup. He's already got 2 home runs and 8 RBIs this year and a 1.341 OPS. So I'm going to take that. He had a day off yesterday. So that probably means he's going to be back in the lineup, hitting in his favorite spot as the Rays continue their current little road stand in Chicago. I don't really love any of the other players at first base tonight. Miguel Sano, 2,600 here. You know, if you're just really desperate, really trying to save some money. I do like the Twins as a stack. So, I mean, if you go Sanchez and Sano, you just got 2 kind of big bats for about, let's do some quick math here, $5,400. So that'll definitely save you some money here. Second base is where I began to struggle. Don't really love anything here. I mean, I got Jorge Polanco once again, $4,000. Just Twins look very attractive tonight, so do not mind if you go with them a lot. But yeah, Brandon Lau for Tampa, he's most expensive at 5,600. Righty killer he's been getting it done slowly but surely, but hasn't hit a home run in, let's count 5 games here. So, I mean, is he due? Is that a thing? But he hasn't hit any home runs outside of Tropicana Field this season in 5 games. And he has a 349 OPS on the road so far this year. But that could just be cold weather. A lot of managers seem to be using that excuse with their pitchers right now. Garrett Cole. And I guess why can't we use it for hitters as well? At third base, I mean, Jonathan VR up here at 5,200, just my eyes just popped out of my head. No, thank you. I mean, if that's what you want, go for it, but not for me, unfortunately. Man, yeah, things are rough today. 7 games late, and then those weird 3 games just not in the middle. It's very peculiar, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do at third base here. Might just have to go with the big bad endeavors off of Barrios and find savings elsewhere with those little twin stacks that I was talking about. Obviously, I wish those guys, Sano and Sanchez, were batting higher in the lineup, but I can take it if you have Raffy Devers just hitting long balls in Fenway Park. Man, not a ton of values here. I'm not going to lie to you guys. So, yeah, I'm just going to move on to shortstop here. Jorge Mateo for the Orioles at 2,800. He steals bases. He gets hits. He had a double last night, or 2 nights ago, sorry. And I don't mind him at all. I always forget okay, never mind. Taylor Ward is not even on this schedule, but I was just going to see if he was third base eligible, because I think he's third base eligible on FanDuel. So that is interesting for the Turbo slate. I'm not sure what FanDuel is doing today with their contest. But yeah. And then, yeah, shortstop, higher price guys. I mean, Wander Franco just hit his first home run of the season last night after taking a day off with a tight quad. So apparently it was not that tight. And he has another extra base hit. He now has 6 doubles, a triple, and a home run through the first 11 games of the year with a 638 slugging. So, not sure why people seem to be disappointed in him so far in 2022 because he has been phenomenal. I guess he hasn't totally jumped off the page, but like he's just plodding along and he's going to be great. Let's move on to the outfield. Got to start here. Oh, third base. What am I doing? Bobby Witt Jr. He's been a cheat code right now. 2,700. Just go grab him. He's a constant if you need to save some money at third base or really any of the positions. Like if I was going to go with Brandon Lowe and Rafi Devers at third base, that mini twin stack at catcher and first, like can't get Rafi Devers if I'm doing Bobby Witt, but you can get bigger bats in the lineup here if you find these values. Sorry. So moving back over to outfield after I had the lightning strike of don't forget Bobby Witt Jr. I will go to another rookie here, Julio Rodriguez. He is starting to put it together a tiny, tiny bit. He comes in at 2,900. Things are slowly but surely coming together for the mega prospect. He's got 3 hits. He's got a hit in 4 of his last 5 contests. He's starting to steal bases. The long balls aren't there yet. He's only got 1 extra base hit. He had 2 stolen bases last night. Sorry. So yeah, he has a hit in 4 of his last 5, and he has 3 stolen bases in those same 5 games. But trying to add something here and there to the fantasy points total, even if the power hasn't come through yet. But yeah, Julio Rodriguez right here at 2,900 is obviously some great salary relief as per usual with these rookies. You really want to hop on them early if you feel strongly about them. Raimel Tapia with the Blue Jays. With Teoscar Hernandez on the IL, it's some very cheap exposure to a Blue Jays offense, but may not be for me. Unfortunately, I watched him in Colorado for so many years when I lived in Denver, and I just always wondered why they would give him so many at-bats when you had Garrett Hampson and Brendan Rodgers and all of these prospects that they just Tapia was one of those prospects at one point, but it was pretty clear to see kind of early that he was not a starting outfielder. He's a great 4th outfielder, so the Blue Jays definitely using him right now with the injuries they're suffering. Julio Rodriguez teammate Jared Kelenic, 3,300. I believe he had a double last night, or no, not last night, on Sunday. And then last night, did he have a home run? Am I imagining things? Let's find out here. Seattle 6, Texas 2. Robbie Ray looking results good, but we will see how everything else went here. Box score. Yeah, Jared Kelenic hit his 2nd home run in the 2nd inning last night off of John Gray. So a double on Sunday, home run on Tuesday. Could this be the beginning of something we will see? I wouldn't go with Rodriguez and Kelenic, but you can go with one of them if you really need to save money here. Man, I don't mind Alex Verdugo at all. 4,100 here against Barrios. He's been on the CBS podcast. They were talking about his launch angle being improved, his exit velocity coming through, and a 1,034 OPS is going to be quite nice in our lineups. With I think he's batting 5th. Let's just double check here real quick on roster resource, thanks to Fangraphs. Just want to double check. I'm pretty sure he's 4th or 5th most days. He hit 6th last night against a lefty, but when a righty is on the mound, it is 5th, 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 5th. Okay, perfect. So batting right behind some of those big guns in the Boston offense is never a bad place to be either. And yeah, I mean, there's some top big guns here too. You got Juan Soto, 6,100. Uh, Seiya Suzuki he finally did not get a hit last night. So the season starting streak of hits has come to an end, but he is all the way up at 5,800. I'm not sure I can get there with that kind of Cubs offense, but you never know. You never know. And then just scrolling down here, yeah, there's plenty of values in the outfield. There always has been, always will be. So don't be scared to get your savings there. So we're almost 2 weeks into the baseball season. I'm pretty sure this is my first baseball podcast, which is preposterous. But yeah, once a week, I'm hoping to get a DFS podcast out early in the morning, talking about the main slate on DraftKings, because I live in Germany and DraftKings is the only site available for me to play DFS baseball or DFS in general. So FanDuel, please get on that, and I will also do some podcasts for FanDuel. But on Mondays, I write a free DFS article for Rotoballer every Monday for the entire baseball season at rotoballer.com. And then on Tuesdays, I switch over to Pitcher List, where I do same thing, DFS plays of the day with some value bats, stacks, specifically some FanDuel and DraftKings pitchers there. Those go out, they're free every Monday and Tuesday. I tweet them out over on my Twitter account, which is at UN or you out. And yeah, I want to keep doing these podcasts. Had a little bit of real life work conflict last week, so that was frustrating when real life gets in the way. But I think tomorrow will be a Fantasy Premier League podcast, and then Friday will be the Imola Grand Prix preview for Fantasy F1. But that wraps up today's podcast, which was DraftKings MLB DFS slate preview for April 20th. I have been your podcast host, Euan Leith. You can subscribe, follow the podcast on Apple, Spotify. I got my stuff together and put it out on YouTube as well. So it's Backup Fantasy Sports is over there on YouTube as well now. Just still the same audio recording of the podcast, just on a different platform. So yeah, you can find it in a lot of places. Google Podcasts as well, actually. So any subscribes or likes, more than welcome, greatly appreciated. And yeah, it's been starting to get hot here in Germany. Looking forward to wearing shorts instead of jeans and watching some daytime baseball, which I will still play some DFS in. I think that's a 5-game slate earlier today. But yeah, today's podcast has been about the 7-game slate, starting at 6:07 in Oakland. So once again, thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. And I will talk to you next time.